And Coach, I know you were at Auburn, and there's an interesting story there. Kind of tell that story, piece it together for people.
Yeah, I was really fortunate. I didn't know um, anyone closely at Auburn. Gene Chizik had just taken the job in 2009. I was coaching at University of Colorado at the time, and one of the coaches on the staff mentioned my name to him, and Gus Malzahn at the time was the offensive coordinator, and he and I had met briefly, and so they interviewed me for the job, and I fooled them into thinking I was a pretty good coach, and so they hired me, and so we were there 4 years, the good, the bad, and the ugly, and it was a great experience, every bit of it, and there were some real incredible memories that were made. Obviously, in 2010, we won the national championship, which was an incredible thing for me and my family to be a part of. Something that you certainly dream about in this profession. But there were a couple of other things that happened that really have stuck with me a lot more significantly. And the first that I remember was shortly after that year. There was one of the guys that I coached who was a senior, and he had been off somewhere training, and this was a kid who had had a successful career, a great kid, but had had some bumps in the road along the way, and didn't have a dad. And since we're going to talk about being a dad, I just felt like this was a kind of a cool story to share. But this guy had been off training, getting ready for his NFL pro day, and he came back in town, and I saw him briefly, but he left a note on my desk and said a bunch of things in it. But at the very end of it, he said, "Coach, you're like the dad I never had, and if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be where I am today." And got a little tear in my eye, and I looked over to my left, and that national championship ring was sitting there in my office, and the thought just ran across my mind, that's infinitely more important than any ring that you could ever have, because in a couple of years, nobody's going to care about that ring or who won the national championship or even know that you were on that staff.